Hi everybody, it's Christina from Pretty Distressed. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking this dresser I got off of Facebook Marketplace and giving it a little bit of a coastal makeover. I'm going to be using some water-based stains and some really beautiful colors and trying out a new wax for the first time. So if you want to see how I give this dresser a coastal makeover, just keep watching. Today's video is sponsored by Minwax. I am taking their antique to chic challenge and I'm going to be flipping this dresser I got off of Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to be using Minwax Water Based Stains to really enhance the beauty of this wood grain. I'm also going to be trying out their Soft Touch Wax Sealer. And the best part of this video is everything that I'm using today you can find at your local Lowe's, so it's going to be really easy for you to tackle a project just like this. So let's zoom in and get started. So here is my piece that is getting a makeover today. I got this on Facebook Marketplace for $80, which is actually a really great deal for a solid piece of wood furniture like this. And it was in really great shape, so it doesn't need a lot of repairs, but the finish on it is kind of failing and it's not seeing its best days. So this is going to be the perfect candidate for these water-based stains because the grain is so beautiful. We're not going to hide that grain. We're going to accentuate it. So once I had my piece in hand, I went to Lowe's to get a peek of these wood stains in person. Mine had a board and I was able to pick out the colors that I wanted. These stains come in both a solid color stain and a semi-transparent color stain, and I wanted to work with both. So I grabbed a can of each and I headed up to the paint tinting desk at Lowe's. You actually have to get these tinted at the paint station like you do the paint, which is different than you might be used to working with stain. But I took them up there, gave me my colors, and they mixed them up for me. I'm getting sun-washed blue in the solid stain, and then I actually didn't have to get this one tinted because I'm going to use a pure white on my semi-transparent stain. So I got everything home and began prepping my piece by removing all my hardware. I originally thought I was going to use this, but a lot of this was damaged, so I am going to be replacing the hardware, and I'm giving it a good cleaning on the inside. It had been in an attic, so I'm getting rid of all those spider webs and dust. And I am actually going to be sanding and stripping this entire piece today. So I have grabbed an orbital sander and 3 different kinds of sandpaper. We're going to start with a coarse, which is at 80. Then I'm going to follow that up with a medium 120. And then I'm going to end sanding with a 220 to get it nice and smooth before I add the stain. We do need to get all this existing finish off. You could do this by hand, but an orbital sander is going to make this go so much faster, and there are a lot of different models you can choose from at Lowe's, so you can pick one that works really well for your budget. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I do have some heavy duty sanders that I use around here, but I wanted to make this project attainable for you guys and affordable for you, so this DeWalt orbital sander or anything like this is going to work well for you. So here I'm doing that finishing sanding with that 220 fine sandpaper. So you will start with the 80, work your way up to the 120, and then finish with the 220. And you will have to do some hand sanding in those details and cracks that the orbital sander can't reach. As you're sanding, just always remember to go with the grain. Okay, now we're going to get into the fun stuff of staining this piece. Sanding part is the hardest part of this project, so if you can power through that, you're going to love the rest of this. I am just getting all my dust off of my piece and getting it ready to stain. And I'm going to start by using the Minwax Pre-Stain. This is the water-based one. It's important that you need to have the water-based one, and I'm going to use a pretty synthetic brush to apply this. And I'm going to need some lint-free rags to wipe this back and wipe back my stain, so you want to have those handy. So you just mix this up and then you apply it pretty liberally with the grain. What this pre-stain is going to do, it's going to help my wood absorb the stain evenly. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I usually skip this part, but it was highly recommended with these stains, and I am a huge believer now because it turned out really great using this pre-stain. Once you get this on, you just let it penetrate for 1 to 5 minutes, and then you come back and wipe away any excess that was not absorbed into the wood. I applied this to my entire piece and I just worked in sections so it wasn't sitting on my piece longer than those 5 minutes. The best part of all the stuff that I'm working today being water-based is that it cleans up really easily with just soap and water. After this dries, I'm just doing a light sanding with a 220 sandpaper. You can do this with the orbital sander or by hand, and this is just going to close up the grain in case it opened up during the pre-staining process. So now my piece is fully ready for staining. I am going to start with the solid color stain, and this is the one that I tinted with the sun-washed blue color. This is going to be going on the entire frame. What is going to be unique about this is I'm going to be able to add color just like I would with a paint, but I'm going to be able to keep that character of that wood grain. Like I said, this wood grain is beautiful and stunning, and this solid color is still going to keep that texture, and you're going to be able to see that, and I'm going to play it up even more when I add some wax later. So this is really thick and pigmented, and it's going to remind you a lot of paint. It goes on nice and smooth with a synthetic brush, and I'm just going with the grain like you typically would with any type of stain. Some benefits of working with a water-based stain is that it is going to be low odor compared to those oil-based ones. It's going to dry quickly, so we're actually going to be able to finish all our staining and top coating in one day, which you cannot do with an oil-based product. And you can get really outside of the box with picking some really fun and bold colors. There are 200 color choices on their website, and you can custom tint this to any color that you like. You do need to work with this in small sections, and as soon as you get it on, you want to wipe it back immediately. You're going to wipe back this solid stain with a synthetic paint applicator pad. This is going to give you a smooth, even finish with no brush marks. It's a good idea to have several pad replacements for this on hand, so as your pad is getting clogged up from your piece, you can switch to a clean one. It's also a good idea to have some of these small applicator pads for more detailed sections. I found this process super easy for the first time using it, and I was really impressed just what a streak-free and brush stroke-free finish this provides. Again, I finished the frame by working in these small sections, and once I was finished, I was ready to move on to the drawers. And the drawers, I'm going to be using the semi-transparent color stain, and I didn't get this one tinted, I just kept it in pure white because I want to do a whitewash look, and I wanted it to really contrast with the blue frame and have more of a natural wood look against that. So this you just apply the exact same way. So remember, I already used the pre-stain on these, so I am just applying my semi-transparent stain with a Purdy synthetic brush again. And this one you want to wipe back immediately as well and work in small sections, but I'm going to be wiping this back with a lint-free rag. Now this is going to take a lot more of that stain off, and it's going to show a lot more of that wood grain and really showcase the beauty of the wood. With the solid stain, it's more of a texture that you're getting, but with the semi-transparent, you are maintaining more of that wood grain and actually being able to see the wood. Like I said, this stain is going to dry really quickly, so we're going to be ready to seal and top coat it in 2 to 3 hours. I do want to note that my synthetic pad did shed just a few little fibers into my stain, so I just took a lint-free cloth and buffed those out, and they came off really easily. I'm going to be using both of their waxes in their design series to seal this today. You could definitely seal this with a polyacrylic if you're more comfortable doing that, but you guys know I love wax and I was dying to try these out. So you actually start by mixing these up with a stir stick just to make sure everything is incorporated. I am using the grain highlighting wax on this blue part because I really want to bring out the texture of my wood. This is going to highlight that grain and make it white, but it's also going to seal my piece and protect it at the same time. So you get a very liberal amount of this wax and a lint-free cloth and some gloves, and you just work it in a circular motion. And then you're going to let it set on your piece for 3 to 5 minutes for this grain highlighting wax. And then I come back and wipe it off with a clean lint-free cloth that doesn't have any wax on it. And I'm actually going to wipe against the grain. I know you normally see me wipe with the grain, but with this grain highlighting wax, you want to wipe against the grain so that that wax is really getting down in that grain, and it's going to look white and accentuate it and highlight it and make it look very beautiful. Once you get the majority of the wax off, I just kind of buff it in every direction to make sure that it's nice and incorporated and that I've removed all the excess. And here's a little trick for you. You don't want this wax piling up in the crevices, so I just took a little toothpick and put that around my rag and got the excess out in all those little corners. I like the drawers the way that they are, so I'm going to use the Soft Touch finishing wax on those. This doesn't have any color in it. It's just going to seal and protect my piece. Again, you want to mix it up. You're going to grab a clean lint-free cloth, get a liberal amount on there, and rub it on in that circular motion all the way across the piece. I do want to note that both of these waxes are oil-based and they should be cleaned up with mineral spirits, so you can either throw your rags out or clean them when you're done. Both of these waxes are going to provide a really durable finish once they cure down, and they are soft and velvety to the touch. They feel absolutely amazing, and I found them really easy to work with. This clear Soft Touch wax you are going to let set on your piece just a little bit longer than the grain highlighting one. You can let it set for 5 to 15 minutes and then come back and wipe it down with a clean lint-free cloth. This one, it doesn't matter what direction you go in. You can go with the grain, against the grain. You just want to buff the excess off. Both of these waxes are going to dry to the touch in 1 hour, and just like any other wax, you are probably going to want to reapply it once a year. I let my piece dry overnight and then I brought it back in to assemble it. And now I'm going to do something really fun with the hardware. Like I said, the original hardware was damaged and I didn't want to put it back on. So I found these fun pulls in the hardware section at Lowe's, but I wanted to make them a little bit more beachy since I'm going for a coastal theme. So I grabbed some jute out of the aisle with all the rope and I'm just tying these on to the handles and then wrapping them around and then just fastening them with a little bit of hot glue. You could use any type of glue here, but I've used hot glue with jute before and it holds up actually really well. So after I added all my jute to my handles, I was ready to attach them to the piece. So I am done. Just to remind you, here is what I started off with, and here she is now, my beachy coastal little chest of drawers. You guys, I love this piece. I'm obsessed with the colors. I love how this stain really accentuates and highlights this wood grain, that I get to see that beauty of the wood but still have the beauty of having some color. And this piece turned out exactly how I saw it in my head, and it was a lot of fun to work on this project. joining me for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Are you interested in trying out these water-based stains? What color would you use? Let me know down in the comments below. I will be back next week with another project. Thanks for being here, you guys, and I will see you next time.